Will the market go up or down? Should you lock in or float? Find out this and more with Master of the Markets, hosted by Barry Habib of MBS Highway. Brought to you by Paramount Residential Mortgage Group.
In today's mortgage environment, providing our wholesale community with the best combination of product, pricing, technology, and service is paramount to their success. PRMG, built by originators for originators.
Welcome to another edition of Master of the Markets. I'm Barry Habib at MBS Highway. This is created exclusively for Mortgage News Network, and it's brought to you by our friends at PRMG, who are working for your best interest. Let's start with last week. It's a good week for interest rates. And the support levels that we had talked about really held beautifully. We saw interest rates actually improve a little bit last week. The big news of the week was the jobs report. And here's the thing, we got what we wanted. We thought we'd get a weaker jobs report. Everybody was expecting a big number. We said, hey, looking for a pullback, due for a pullback. We floated into the jobs report, and that was pretty successful. The only thing was bond market didn't respond as strongly initially as we had hoped. It was positive for bonds, but we thought it would be actually a little better. Some of it was because the day before we had some gains, and so certain things were baked into the cake. But, you know, especially given the fact that when we talk about wages had slowed down on a year-over-year basis. Now, this was for the month of February that we got. So February to February is the month that we had gotten, and it showed that hourly earnings were up 3.1%. Weekly earnings were up 3.1%. But in the previous read, which when we take a look at January to January, so January of 2018 to January 2019, hourly earnings are up 3.2%, and weekly earnings, which is the real important one because that's the money you take that you can actually spend, that was up 3.5%. So they moderated down a little bit, and this could be the first signs of a little bit of slowdown. Now, the unemployment rate did drop all the way down to 3.8%. But part of that was not because of good reason. Part of that was because the labor force itself actually shrank by about 45,000 people. So when you look at the report overall, it really wasn't that great of a job report, but there are certain things there that masked it. Overall, the lack of inflationary pressure should be bond friendly as we head into this week. Now, last week we got some housing data too, and the housing data was terrific. But you don't want to get giddy over this, because when you take a look at things like housing starts, they were up 18%. It's a volatile number, so it can change from month to month pretty dramatically. It's amazing because the media, as soon as you get a bad number, right away they'll jump all over it and never say, hey, look, this is a volatile number. Let's kind of temper our expectations. The week that we have ahead of us is going to be highlighted by some inflation news. And this will be interesting to see because if inflation continues to be low, that should give us a green light in bonds for interest rates to continue to improve this week. So we've been saying we think they're going to improve. They did last week. We think that this week we should have the ability to see interest rates either stay stable or improve a little bit. Housing market continues to show signs of improvement. It's so amazing because everybody was calling for the death of the housing market. We told you that they were wrong, and they are. We're going to see a very strong home buying season this spring. Interest rates on a year-over-year basis, believe it or not, they've come all the way back. They're almost exactly where they were a year ago at this time. So looks like all green lights. You really should be contacting people for refinances as well, because one of the reports we got this week that home equity increased by 8.1% year over year. So almost anyone who has had mortgage insurance a year ago, maybe a little longer than a year ago, now can refinance and remove that. And there are things that you could do to restructure debt as well for those individuals who have greater equity. Think about these things as you approach the week ahead. Talk to you next week. And by the way, if you want strategies like this, if you want tools, why don't you just sign up for MBS Highway? Because if you don't, you're quite honestly, you're only hurting yourself and you're taking away from being the very best you can be. This is the time for you to really step up to the next level for yourself. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
PRMG continues to provide our wholesale partners across the nation with better technology, better product, better pricing, and better service. Our nationally recognized brand is more than just an image. It is a symbol of integrity. PRMG, built by originators for originators. Be sure to click on the link below for your free 30-day MBS Highway trial.
This is Mortgage News Network.